This confession comes from Helen in Glasgow, and written in big letters, says here, not for those of a squeamish tendency or perhaps eating their dinner.
Oh, I love these.
It has the title, Blowing in the Wind.
Okay, we all know what's coming.
No G. Okay. So, do you think that's enough of a warning?
I think so. I think we're all buying into this now.
Okay.
Yep.
Dear Brother Simon and the Collective, and all I'd say is, if at any stage in this story you feel yourself actually saying out loud or thinking, oh really, did you have to lower the tone like this? Hang on, just hang on.
Oh, really?
For the payoff.
Because it's going to keep going.
Okay. It's only now, following my retirement after 38 years working in the NHS, that I can unburden myself for this truly awful deed, and obviously names have been changed to protect, basically, me. It goes back to the early 1970s in a Glasgow hospital when I was a young, newly qualified staff nurse and had just landed my dream job in the operating theatres. I loved it. The drama, the excitement, the emergencies, the blood and guts, the things I saw were unbelievable, and I was in my element. This was the job I loved. All right, so far.
Yeah.
I'd been building up my scrubbing skills over the months, leading to more complex cases. So when there was a long colorectal case coming up, I wanted to scrub for it. This is a first confession. I've never used those words before.
Yeah.
Of course, the rather handsome surgeon with the twinkly eyes had absolutely nothing to do with my decision. The more experienced nurses were more than happy to take a backseat on this one. After all, they didn't need the experience, and who would want to stand at an operating table for 5 to 6 hours? All okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Things were going swimmingly, and I was loving it. Handing over instruments at lightning speed, the time was flying by. After about 3 hours into the operation, I felt a rumbling in my tummy. I put it down to hunger and ignored it. Half an hour or so later, I felt it again. Not only was it getting uncomfortable, but my tummy seemed to be getting a little bigger. And then it struck me what the problem was. It was wind.
Okay. Yeah. Happens to the best of us.
Well, actually, the whole thing about this is we've all done sort of vaguely similar things.
Of course.
Now, the night before, my mum had served up Brussels sprouts with our tea. And since we were the only two that liked them, I did indulge in 2 and possibly 3 helpings of those little green balls of utter deliciousness. 5 hours into the operation, the lovely surgeon asked for a suture. A row of stitches holding together the incision. I looked it up. Which meant we were closing up. Hurrah! I handed him his suture, his assistant got a pair of scissors, and I commenced my first swab and instrument count. All correct, I informed the surgeon, then started to put my instruments back in the trays where they belonged. I was in so much discomfort at this time, I decided that I really needed to do something about it. So I thought, if I walk away from everybody, between my 2 trolleys, looking busy with my instruments, and maybe wafting, no one would notice. All done it. The plan seemed foolproof, so I went for it. And oh, Father Simon, the relief. I'm sure my eyes rolled to the back of my head a little bit. My tummy deflated a little. I felt so much better. This was great. I furtively looked around, but no one had reacted at all. Result. So I did it again and wafted the air around. And because it's what you had, it's just biology, everybody, okay? And then I moved back to the operating table. If you have already reacted inappropriately, then hang on. Then out of the corner of my eyes, I saw the surgeon put the suture and the forceps down. And when I looked up, he was staring right at me with those twinkly eyes, but he wasn't saying anything. He then did a big theatrical sniff, which by now I didn't need to do, because even with my mask on, I was thinking of sprouts. 20 seconds later, the rest of the theatre team... They could smell it too. It's not funny yet. The circulating nurses, the anaesthetist, and the anaesthetic nurse. That's disgusting, they all chorused. The surgeon looked back at me. I thought, oh no, I've been rumbled, as it were. I was just about to confess to too many sprouts the night before and apologise profusely when the surgeon said 16 words that will haunt me forever. Nurse, I think there's a hole in the bowel. We need to go back in. And he handed me the suture back. So Helen says my confession is threefold. Firstly, to the theatre team. for the smell. Secondly, to the twinkly-eyed surgeon for making him think he had perforated the patient's bowel. But thirdly, most importantly, I apologise to the patient. Not only did I extend his surgery by 10 minutes, but I also allowed him to take the blame for the smell. When the surgeon, after finding no perforation, decided that he must just have passed wind himself in the normal way. Anyway, so everyone, by the way, P.S., everyone was fine in the end.
Obviously.
Yeah, just thought we'd add that one in at the end. So there's Helen in Glasgow's professional. Listen, I turned it down, okay? And then we toned it down. Anyway, but the thing is, we've all done similar things in separate kind of circumstances. I was on centre court Wimbledon for 5 years. In the commentary box. Similar.
Pretty small box.
I'm just going to go off and get a fax.
Okay.
Then we can't use that
If you're working with Claire Balding, you have to have impeccable manners and top standards. There you go. What'd you say, Sister Bobby?
Oh, it's a tricky one, isn't it, really, to know what to do? I think, given the fact that you didn't know the possible outcome of your actions, you didn't know that was coming.
No, of course, it was just a thing.
Then really, you did what you could. Given the fact that you were right near the end, it was fine. It's one of those
And
things.
she was doing good works.
She was, again,
very good
hospital
works.
staff, they are an amazing bunch of people at all levels. It is fantastic. So I would say, Helen, just the fact that you were in there scrubbing up, looking after this gentleman,
yes,
that you can be forgiven for almost anything. And you really didn't know what was going to happen.
Correct.
So given the fact that you didn't know...
She could have said, it's all right, it was me.
Yes, but I think given that situation...
Maybe you didn't.
No one's ever done that. No one has ever in the history of the world
if you really
ever
thought
done that.
if you really thought it was going to be a problem, yes, you would.
It's
of
a
course.
twinkly-eyed surgeon gets involved at some stage. So.
Anyway, Helen, you are forgiven, but only just.
Brother Matthew.
It is. This is entirely human. It happens to the best of us. We've all done it, and let he who has not done it very much cast the first stone. But I am definitely going to be adding nurse. I think there's a hole in the bowel. We're going to have to go back in to my list of euphemisms. That's coming right out every time this happens again. So I am definitely going to forgive because we all do it.